We've been seeing it all morning long, starting yesterday at 6:30 when this fire first erupted, and these neighborhoods have been so impacted. I'm just going to get straight to it. Dale and Michelle, Dale was in this home for 60 years behind us. You've seen it all morning. I've seen you looking at it all morning, but you said it just really hit you.
Yeah, I don't hear very well, so I'm sorry.
Okay, so you were telling me that the emotions just hit you.
Oh, they just hit me about 5 minutes ago. And when we came up, I couldn't believe it. But 5 minutes ago, I was sitting in the car by myself, and tears just came over my face. So,
And
my entire history is in the house.
Yeah, Dale, he raised his family here. He's been in this home right behind me. It's still, parts of it have flames still burning here. It's been going all morning long. He's been here for 60 years, raised his kids in this house. I mean, what are you feeling when you see your house like this now?
What'd you say?
How do you feel looking at this morning?
I'm going to break down again. That's what I feel. It's my whole life.
Everything was in there.
So
we lost everything.
You shape up. You're supposed to be a support. Anyway, I'm okay. I'll be okay. I'm tough, and we'll start over. Even though I'm 91 years old, I'll start over again.
Okay, Dale. And what is your message to your neighbors that are going to be coming back just like you?
I would say that whatever happens to their property, we're just glad that they're safe and they've survived this along with us. And
thank you for all the personnel that are here, that are fighting the fire. Is just amazing. And thank you to all of them and to you.
No.
We're spreading the news, even though it's bad.
They said that this little area right here just erupted all at once, and it was the hottest area up here, and it just went so fast. And then they thought they put it out, and then they went down the road and they came back, and they couldn't do anything about it.
Flames.
Yeah.
Well.
But they tried.
Well.
We give them a lot of credit for that. And
well, thank you for sharing with us, and we're praying for you guys. And I know your daughter's on the way.
Yeah.
Your daughter's on the way?
I think so.
Okay, the support.
They went to Phoenix, and from Phoenix to Prescott, and then went to Las Vegas, where she said she won $600. And then I called her this morning, and they both hit the road. So they're on their way.
The support system's coming.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you guys so much. We're going to keep walking. You guys do what you need to do. Thank you, Dale and Michelle. Thank you. You guys, these are just the stories that are going to be coming out this morning as people start to return home to these neighborhoods. We're on Denair, and we showed you images of this house earlier this morning, and it was just completely up in flames. And you see moments like that, and it just breaks your heart, because this is what everyone's going to be experiencing this morning. So many families. This woman here, we watched her come over just about 15 minutes ago and see what was left of her home. And it's just absolutely heartbreaking what people are now experiencing and seeing what's left. You know, you have all these properties here, house after house after house, just in flames. If you look up there, there's firefighters with another woman looking out at the destruction right here. And it just breaks your heart. And it's just the reality for so many people. This is Michael. He lives just down the street. He came in this morning. Your house, thankfully, was spared. But, you know, what do you think when you see your neighborhood like this now?
Well, I keep going from not crying to now starting to cry again, because I know a lot of these people and they've lost everything. So it's pretty surreal to see all this. I mean, I left around midnight last night and the house just above me was burning. So I got out as quick as I could. I came back at 4 in the morning, and I did not know these were burning, these houses. That completely caught me off guard.
What finally hit you? Because we've been talking for the last 45 minutes, and now something just...
Well, I mean, so much goes through your head because you hear about these things. And when you see it, and you see it jump from house to house, and your house is spared and others are not, and you wonder why. It's kind of rough. A lot of people are praying for us, but I know there's people that other people are praying for, and they weren't so lucky. So it's really hits you hard.
Michael, tell me a little bit about what you saw this morning when you came back to the neighborhood and what it looked like, because it was unbelievable.
Yeah, so I was at my mom's house in Monrovia, and when I left, I saw fires in the foothill at 4 a.m. When I came back here, I took back streets because I knew Michelinda was pretty much a parking lot. So when I came back here, there was multiple fire trucks. There's Glendale Police. I think Costa Mesa's out here. So a lot of resources were here. I think our house was spared because the water power is in our backyard, and Don Benito School they're trying to protect. But I had no idea that the houses just down the street from me had been destroyed. And that was pretty much a gut shot to see that. I expected my house to be gone. We have ring chime, so I looked on the ring chime and it was all offline, so I figured that's it. So when I went to bed last night, I figured I'd come home to ashes.
It was a different situation for you. How would you describe the Hastings Ranch community of people? I mean, I've already seen so many people just gathering together.
Well, I mean, this is where everybody goes to see the Christmas lights and everything, so everybody pretty knows everybody. If they don't know them by name, they certainly recognize them. A lot of us exchange phone numbers. So that really was helpful, because those that didn't have eyes and couldn't hear, I would call them and tell them your house is fine. I'll let you know when the water and power's back on. So it's I guess calamity brings people together, right? So when that happens, everybody raises up and do what they can to help one another.
There's going to be a lot of rebuilding from here. Michael, thank you so much for your time, and good luck with moving forward from this. I'll leave you with these images right here, you guys. This is, again, we're on Denair in Pasadena and the Hastings Ranch community here, and a lot of homes are looking like this morning, and that fire really did something to this neighborhood, and the winds are starting to pick up again, so hopefully they calm down before we see this once again in this neighborhood. I'll send it back to you guys.
Steve, you jumped into action yesterday with first responders. Can you tell us, between yesterday and today, the differences you're seeing?
Well, before I do, I really want to use this opportunity to tell people, in a crisis, if you're going to abandon your car in the street, leave your keys in the car, so guys like me can move it. And the second thing is, if you're able-bodied, try to help people. There are people in wheelchairs. There are older people. There are mothers having anxiety attacks and panic attacks about their kids. They can't find their kids. Try to help people. And also during the normal life, when this is over, try to be kinder and nicer, and try to bring what you do in a crisis to the normal day. So to answer your question, yesterday morning at 9 a.m., it was an idyllic day. By 10 a.m., the sky was black. I mean, black as night. And there were small fires raging, little dancing devils of fire. And before you knew it, the wind was kicking up. This is wind I've never seen in my life. The only time I've ever seen this is in South Africa. It's like a devil wind, which is a hot wind that just spreads this fire like crazy. And this morning, I thought I was going to wake up. I'm at my friend Andy and Laura's house, and I thought they have no electricity. I thought that I would wake up, and I thought the fires would be out. But they're still raging, and it's just terrible. This is the biggest fire I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it's the biggest wind event, Paul Diano says, we've ever had here in Southern California, and it's just continuing to burn out of control. It's really great reminders about the community support and really stepping in for people. So what is your plan now? Are you just going to stay there and continue to help people?
Yeah, I'm going to just do what I can. I'm going to get a pair of gloves and see how close I can get. And everybody needs help right now. There are 10,000 people evacuated in the Highlands alone, and so many of them are infirm. And then there are people still in their homes that maybe don't have friends and don't have family, and aren't able to get out, and aren't able to use their telephones or something to that effect. So I'm just going to see what I can do to help. And meanwhile, I'm going to check up on my wife, my family, check up on my friends, people I care about, and and see what I can do to and help. But thank God everybody is evacuated. Everybody in my life is evacuated, and they are all in safe places. So I'm going to see what I can do to help, especially move some more of those cars. I mean, look at these homes. Look at the fire. You can't believe how it spread. Last night, this is Southern California news, so you'll understand. I was on Sunset Boulevard. It was black. I couldn't see 3 feet in front of my car, and I was driving west, trying to get to the ocean, and big trees were falling down right in front of me, right in front of one of my temples. I go to Chabad, which Rabbi Zushi was on television today. And so I turned around and I went toward the east, and they stopped me right in front of Gelson's. Gelson's is on fire. The Palisades Theater is on fire. The Women's Club is on fire. And they told me to turn around. And so I went the wrong way on the right side of the street. And I was telling everybody, you got to turn around. There's no going that way anymore. So I found Temescal Canyon, and I went down Temescal Canyon. Temescal Canyon was on fire. On fire. The theater is on fire. All the homes on Temescal Canyon were on fire. Both sides of the hills were on fire. It looked like a volcano. I couldn't see 2 feet in front of me. There were no other cars. It felt like it took an hour to get to PCH. And now I never think I'm going to die. I never think anything's going to happen to me. But this is one of those times where I looked around and went, if it was going to happen, it could probably happen right now. So I just kept going really slow. I couldn't see the street. I couldn't see the yellow lines in the street. I couldn't see anything. And I put I had my mask on, but Temescal Canyon was literally on fire. And I just couldn't believe it. Then I got down to PCH, and there were parts of PCH on fire. And then the fire jumped the road, jumped PCH, and some of the, I saw some of the lifeguard towers and everything was on fire. Palm trees were on fire. Trees were on fire. Right in front of Gelson's, a tree was on fire. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And then I was walking on Sunset Boulevard because a friend of mine gave me a ride so I can get close to my car, but it was too dangerous. So she drove away, and I walked, and I found a little dog, but it wouldn't come to me. And I felt so terrible. It was like a Pomeranian or something.
Are now going to talk to some people who have been evacuated, Zibby and Kyle Owens. Thank you so much for being here. Can you tell us, first of all, where you had to evacuate from?
Well, to be clear, we live in New York City as well. So we happen to have left our house about 2 days ago and woke up to this news in New York and are absolutely devastated that our home, that our friends' homes, that the restaurants that we love to go to, that the stores that we go to, the town that we love so much, the Pacific Palisades, is just absolutely decimated. And, we're seeing the worst case scenario play out in front of our eyes here.
Absolutely. I mean, and it must feel, I'm glad you're safe. Yeah. I'm glad you're far away from the flames, but it must be such a helpless feeling.
It's a very helpless feeling, for sure. I think a lot of us have been just saying that we're glad we're here, but I really almost wish I was there so I could help out or be part of it. And it's such a tight community, and almost feel really guilty not being there right now, to be honest.
And that's understandable. I hear from people whose homes, don't end up becoming ablaze in some of these fires. They have survivor's guilt in some ways with their home. But it is one of those things. Fires are so unpredictable. Have you been talking to your neighbors? What do you know about your neighborhood right now?
Yeah, our neighborhood is completely evacuated. I'm not sure if you guys saw the footage from our Nest Cam or not, but that was really the last contact that we had with our home.
I think we do have that video. This is your backyard? This
is our backyard, and we basically lost contact with with our house via the power right shortly after this video was taken from our security cameras in the backyard there, and that's a neighbor's house that you can see next to it with the chimneys there.
We did get word that our fire sprinkler system had gone off, and then we had a heat warning at our front door, and that was the last we heard.
So devastating. And I don't know how long you've lived in the Palisades and owned property there, but you've likely seen fires before in this area, but nothing like this.
We have. It's been about 8 years or so, 9 years for us, and we've really gotten really immersed in the community and really that's our happy place, and it is just soul crushing to us. And so many of our friends who live there, like I said, I mean, we're fortunate that we have both coasts, but so many people really have lost everything, and it is devastating, and the animals and kids with schools, and it's just so sad.
Our hearts really go out to everyone. There was a small fire on New Year's Eve. We woke up to helicopters in our neighborhood sort of shining the lights right in our house, and that was a very small fire, and we evacuated then at 3 a.m. So having that happen just a couple days ago, and then having this on the heels of it, it's so rattling. I mean, we just did the whole like pack a bag in 2 seconds, get out of there thing, and that fire was okay. And then because the winds were calm, but this fire, as soon as we heard that the winds were out of control, we were just like, oh no. I mean, it's just unthinkable.
This is hurricane force winds, and it's just too much. It's just too strong.
And we know it's all things. I know it's a house. It's possessions, it's things, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels so emotional, and for us, for so many people, and obviously we're very lucky, but we're just empathizing so much with everybody who's just going through the worst of it.
It's a really tight community, the Pacific Palisades, and so much love in that community, and it's just so sad.
Now we're just praying it doesn't spread. I have a bookstore in Santa Monica called Zibby's Bookshop, and you could see flames from there. And all of our friends in Santa Monica, we know so many people there. We just want it all to go. We're just praying for it to end.
I know that feeling. Yeah.
And, we can say when our homes are not on fire, it's just things, but it's different. It's differently when it's your community, and your community is going to look so different when you go back to it. So our hearts are with you. We're glad you're safe. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Greg Champion is with us now, joining us, and he is an evacuee, had to leave the Palisades area, has many businesses there. Greg, thank you for being with us this morning. I also understand that your son goes to Pali High. Can you just talk about the impact that you're hearing this morning?
Sure. Thank you for having me on today. I just want to say that yesterday was horrible. I live in the Palisades. My kids go to school in the Palisades, 3 different schools, no less. And my business is in the Palisades. And, yesterday at 10:30, I looked to the right as I was driving down PCH, and, I see this brown cloud, and I'm like, oh my God, what is that? And the next thing you know, within minutes, that cloud had become a major fire in the Highlands, and then it jumped Palisades Drive to hit the Paseo Miramar area. And so what I'll tell you is that my daughter, a freshman at Pali High, she lost her school. I have a 12-year-old at Calvary Christian School, and they lost their field. And then I have a little toddler down at the Jewish preschool at the bottom of the hill, and part of their school got burnt. And yesterday was scary. I run a business where I help people get sober. It's called Startup Recovery. And we have these 3 beautiful houses up on Paseo Miramar. And my staff did a fantastic job of getting our clients and the rest of the staff out yesterday. And then as we were going up the hill or going down the hill, we realized that we left a dog up there. And one of my staff members, Steve Ulisowitz, and myself went back up there, made it 2/3 up, pulled our car over, ran up the hill, and we were almost at the house, and the fire department came up to us and physically removed us, said, if you guys go any farther, you're going to die. And my lungs filled up with smoke. I went back down. But you got to think of my chaos. I had to get 2 kids out of school. I had to get my clients down the hill for my business. And then I had to go evacuate my own house, all in a matter of 2.5 hours. And so what I can tell you, ladies, is that many of my friends in the Palisades, I've been there since 2009, have lost their houses. A lot of the churches and stores we go to are gone. I can't think of anything more devastating that I've seen LA witness in decades. And, my family's safe. My wife is safe. My 3 beautiful daughters are safe. But my business that I built from the ground up with my partners, Jeffrey Van and Patricia Myers, is gone. And we did really good work helping people get sober, get their lives back. And what I will tell you is that we will rebuild and we will be back. And I'm just grateful for the opportunity to speak to you this morning. And I'll answer any more questions you may have.
Yeah, Greg, it's unbelievable, and obviously this is a very shocking time for everyone involved. I know you're grateful for your lives, and that's the most important thing. But are you already looking forward now to tomorrow? Obviously, your business is gone, and your kids' school is gone. What are you thinking about in terms of tomorrow?
It's going to be sad if I have to walk through those buildings and they're just skeletons. I really tried to hold on to my emotions, but when you put me there tomorrow or whenever they let us back into the neighborhood, I don't know. I mean, it is truly starting over. And, I'm an optimist by nature. I am just so happy that no one was killed in the Palisades. I know there were some injuries. I'm so grateful that my staff, my clients, my family are safe. But I can tell you right now, the emotions will overtake me walking into that darkness that is what was once one of the most beautiful cities in the country, Pacific Palisades.
I think that's going to be true for a lot of people. I don't think people can even comprehend right now, as we're still in kind of the thick of the fire burning and seeing the devastation play out. You just touched on it. Can you talk about the community of the Palisades? There's so many of us that get the opportunity to go up and be a part of the businesses or eat at the restaurants or drive just the beautiful Pacific Coast Highway. Can you talk about, though, when you live there, just how tight-knit it is and how important of a community it is to one another?
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up. It is a very special place on the planet. You have multi-generational families that live there. Grandparents are living right down the street from their kids, and those children are right down the street to see their grandmother and grandfather. The team sports, the soccer leagues, the baseball leagues, very competitive but very friendly, And like you said, the restaurants and the shops, those are all pretty much locally owned by people. And your neighbors. And I'll just give you something maybe to lighten the moment. My 12-year-old daughter charges me $1 for every time I say hi to someone in the Palisades. The less money she's made ever is $3. It's one of those neighborhoods that everybody as you walk down Via de la Paz or Sunset or any of the other streets. So. And not to mention, we have hiking trails in the beautiful Pacific Ocean. It's a real special spot to raise kids, and it's a great loss that will be for decades. I don't know how you get back in any semblance of time the enchanted way of the Palisades.
It is definitely a special place, and it will be very different. It is very different already. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We wish you the best. We wish you a speedy recovery and rebuilding your businesses, and we're glad you're all safe. Thank you very much.
Yeah, ladies, thank you for having me on today. And you guys are doing a fantastic job. I've been watching all morning and all last night, and keep just doing what you guys are doing. It really helps everybody know what's out there. Thank you.
I want to now speak with the president of the Pacific Palisades Community Council, Sue Cole. Sue, I know that you and your family were able to escape from these flames. I doubt that you've been able to get any sleep overnight. Just update us on your safety and the safety of your neighbors that you're aware of.
Okay. Well, yeah, we were able to evacuate right at the beginning. When we first got the evacuation notice, we're not into taking any risks to try and save a house. So we gathered up the pets, the kids, medications, that sort of stuff, and we got out. And we got out pretty easily because we were heading east on Sunset. Palisades only has one way in and out. And the people who were abandoning their cars and having to get out on foot. We're at the other end of town where the fire was raging through at that time. And I think there was a lot of panic. But hopefully other residents and LAPD jumped in and were able to get everybody out. From what I understand, I've been getting text messages all night. The majority of the town is pretty much gone. Churches, schools, restaurants, stores, hundreds and hundreds of homes. My particular neighborhood, which is right in the middle of town, has always been sort of safe because we're not in the mountains, we're not in the hills. But this time, the embers took the fire into literally every neighborhood in the entire town, from the mountains to the ocean. And it's just wiped out pretty much everybody.
And so I want to ask you more about that. I lived in LA for 7 years. I went to UCLA. I've covered these wildfires. So to a certain degree, folks in Southern California are prepared for this and have an escape plan. But so many people are telling us this is unlike anything they've ever experienced. There were warnings, but it moved so quickly. And even overnight, fire crews couldn't battle it from the skies because the winds were so strong.
Right.
From your vantage point, what makes this different? What makes this a much more terrible event to experience?
Well, we did get a lot of notifications starting 2 days before the fire, just about the severe winds that were coming in to get ready. So a lot of people were sort of prepared in that way. But that's not the same as having someone is looking out your window and seeing smoke and then seeing flames. And most of the people that were, I think you're referring to, that were sort of stuck and had such a hard time getting out, it wasn't because they weren't ready. It's just because everybody's being told to go at the same time. And in the Palisades, the first area that was on fire, the Palisades Highlands, there's only one road up and one way down. And when you get everybody in the entire community on that one road at the same time, it's pretty much impossible. So people were driving on the wrong side of the road and abandoning their cars. Fire trucks were having a hard time getting up, so they had to get machinery in to move the cars out of the way. The other side of town was easier to get out. But they closed Sunset, they closed PCH, and these are the main arteries that we have. So, and the fire did move extraordinarily quickly because of the winds. So those were the issues.
And that fire continues to move. We're thankful that you and your loved ones are safe. Our hearts go out to the entire Pacific Palisades community and everyone in Southern California as officials try and wrap their arms around this. Sue Cole, all of our best to you. We're going to continue
Thank you so much
to cover this still developing breaking news out of Southern California. These are live pictures coming to us as one business near a pet hospital just is lit up in flame.
I want to go back to the original fire in the Pacific Palisades. We have Mrs. Kroll on the phone, Sue Kroll, and she has been evacuated. She's also the president of the Pacific Palisades community. Are you with us?
I'm here.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us what you experienced, where you are right now, and what's going through your head.
Well, you know, there's hope, I guess, going through my head, but it's pretty devastating. The entire town, as we've known it from decades, is gone. I mean, there's very few structures left there. Schools, churches, restaurants, stores. The fire, started way up in the hills, and that's where a lot of fires do start. And up until now, they've generally been able to focus on the fires up there with helicopters and firefighters and get them stopped before they move down. This fire was very, very different because of the severe winds. The embers blew everywhere, and even people who for a very long time have felt not as vulnerable, people like myself who live in the flats in the village, realized that, everybody was in the thick of it. So we had mandatory evacuation orders. Unlike the people in the far western part of town who had real trouble getting out and had to abandon cars and go on foot because of street closures at Sunset and PCH, where we live, we were able to get out on Sunset Boulevard going the opposite direction. So we were heading east to get on the freeway and get out of Dodge. And it took a long time, but at least we were able to stay in our car. And my family got out. We got kids, dogs, everything. And we got out at the beginning. You know, I wasn't about to stay and see what happened. And I feel terrible about anyone who stayed in our town thinking they could hose down their house, because it's a very dangerous situation. And that just couldn't work. So I just pray everybody got out. You know, a good number of us lost our homes, but I guess life goes on, you know?
Well, it does. And you're right. I mean, obviously, getting people out is the most important thing. You are the president of the Pacific Palisades community, so I know you're likely in touch with so many people. As you were just talking about, I had a very close friend. His father has Parkinson's disease, and they were trying to get him out, where you said it's at Sunset and PCH, got stuck, had to get out. It was such a chaotic situation. What are you hearing? It seems that all of those people were able to get out, but their cars abandoned, had to be, pushed to the side with a dozer at one point. What are you hearing from people?
Well, I think in that area of town, residents that were more able and LAPD officers jumped in to get those people out and down to the beach. I mean, even, I saw on the news a lifeguard station on fire at the beach, but clearly being on the sand and near the water is going to be safer than being anywhere in town. So I think a lot of people went down there. And our council person for Council District 11, Tracy Park, was sending out a lot of text messages and instructions. We had a lot of alerts for 2 days, even before the fire, talking about wind conditions coming, be prepared, and all of their worst nightmares came true. So I think, LAFD, LAPD, our council person, everybody jumped in and was as helpful as they possibly could be, but there's just not enough,
Can you tell us about those moments when you realized it was ravaging your neighborhood and you needed to get out right then? You think about those moments of having to choose what to take with you,
Right.
of not knowing if it's going to close in on you, of worrying about your
Right.
neighbors and loved ones and pets. Tell us what was going through your head at that moment.
Well, the first thing is the pets, obviously the dogs, the crates, all the family photo albums, medications, that sort of stuff. When I've evacuated before, and we have had to evacuate before, it's always been 24 hours. So I took all of that stuff. I didn't take any clothes because I thought, we'll be back tomorrow, hopefully. So that's the only thing that's really sort of making me a little nervous right now, other than obviously I think we lost our home. You never know what to take. You're in sort of a bit of a panic mode. You try and take deep breaths and go room to room and look around and see what in this room do I need to take. And that's what we did for about an hour. But then, then at some point, you just have to get in the car and go. You can't take any more.
And is everyone accounted for, all of the people that you've been worried about in your community?
As far as I know, yes. I've heard from so many people through text messages, mostly, and everybody evacuated, everybody's safe. Nobody knows the status of their homes unless they've been able to see their homes literally burning on the news. But every neighborhood was hit, and nobody really has much hope of coming back to anything.
Well, and Sue, you said you're near the village. So many people, even if they don't live there, do know that area, that shopping district, the restaurants.
Yeah.
So many memories made there as well for a lot of people in Southern California. Thank you so much for sharing your story this morning, and just know that our hearts go out to you and your community.
Thank you so much. We all really appreciate it and need all the prayers you guys can send.